channel. My name's Kayla, this is Cinnamon, Peaches, and Sage, and today I'm going to explain how time travel works in Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. Now, I know some of you might be saying, Kayla, I watched a whole bunch of other YouTubers put out videos about this exact same topic. Aren't you just going to say the exact same thing? And to that, I say no, because most Pokemon YouTubers right now are speculating about a wide range of possibilities. Instead of speculating about all the things that could be possible, which is infinite things, I'm going to instead use Occam's razor, which is a logic technique, to limit it down to the most likely possibility for how time travel works in Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. I go into this in more detail in my Pokemon Multiverse Explained series, which I highly recommend watching. But in Pokemon, there are only two types of time travel that we see. We either see closed loop time travel, like with Celebi, where events are not changed due to the time travel. This is the type of time travel where one event causes another event, which in turn causes the first event. In other words, this type of time travel creates a perfect circle in which events cause each other. You may have heard this referred to as the chicken and egg theory of time travel. The other type of time travel that's very common in Pokemon is multiversal time travel. This occurs when a character moves from one universe to another, and these two universes might be set in different times. This is how trading works in Pokemon, especially when we're able to trade Pokemon from different games that are set in different time periods. It's also how fallers work in Pokemon, fallers being characters that travel from one version of reality to another. Pokemon Scarlet and Violet are interesting because they are both closed loop and multiversal time travel. To explain how this works, let's look at the events related to time travel in Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. First, the explorer Heath enters the crater of Paldea with his trusty Cyclizar. In the crater, Heath sees either past or future Pokemon. But how is that even possible if the time machine isn't created yet? If you complete Arvin's storyline, he even comments about how weird this is. Arvin says, wait, hold on, isn't my dad's time machine the whole reason the future Pokemon ended up here in the first place? This book is from way before he made the time machine, but it mentions future Pokemon. Isn't that kind of weird? We're gonna go back to that idea in a little bit. So anyways, Heath writes about his adventures in either the Scarlet book or the Violet book, depending on if he sees past Pokemon or future Pokemon. These books are treasured by Sada and Turo respectively. In fact, as is stated by both Arvin and AI Sada or Turo, this is what caused the professors to be interested in Area Zero. It also explains why Sada and Turo were particularly interested in Koraidon and Miraidon, since those were the Pokemon on the cover of the Scarlet and Violet books. Not to mention that Heath had a Cyclizar, so by having Koraidon or Miraidon, they're kind of mimicking their idol. This attachment to Koraidon and Miraidon is likely why Sada and Turo were willing to sacrifice themselves for these Pokemon. Anyways, before Sada and Turo die, they create the time machine. This time machine allows them to transport Pokeballs either to the past or future. These Pokeballs then catch Pokemon that are in those different times and then transfer back into the present day. It can transport objects in addition to Pokeballs as well, but it's unable to retrieve those objects back through the time machine. As I said before, human Sada/Turo die protecting either Koraidon or Miraidon. The events of the game occur, and at the end, AI Sada or AI Turo travel to the past or future. They mention that the reason that they can't stay in this time is because they themselves are inextricably connected to the time machine. And that's how the story of the games end, but that leaves us with a problem. If the time machine didn't exist until Professor Sada and Turo built it, then how did Heath encounter Paradox Pokemon well before they were born? The answer is surprisingly simple. In order for this time loop to be closed, AI Sada or Turo need to send Paradox Pokemon back to right before the time of Heath. Or in Sada's case, forward in time since she's transported to the distant past. But anyways, they need to send Pokemon from these parts of the timeline to Heath's part of the timeline in order for Heath to create the book, which inspires Turo and Sada, which makes them make the time machine, which makes them go back around. You get the idea. It becomes a closed loop as long as they send those Pokemon back. Considering the time machine is inextricably connected to the AI, and that they helped build it, and that they are as intelligent as the professor, it makes sense that they would realize that this time loop needs to be closed and be the ones to do so. Okay, that explains how it's a closed loop, but where does the multiversal part come in? Well, a lot of the text surrounding the Paradox Pokemon in Scarlet and Violet doesn't match up with it being within the same timeline. For example, about Volcarona, it says that no Volcarona fossils of that era have ever been found. Information about iron bundles suggests that it is a product of a long-gone civilization, despite it being supposedly from the future. Fluttermane exists in a universe where Mischievous doesn't exist in the present day. How is this possible? Wouldn't Fluttermane have evolved into modern-day Mischievous? How can this be? So maybe these past and future Paradox Pokemon don't actually exist on the timeline at all. Now, a lot of people immediately jump to, oh, they must be imaginary Pokemon, but we actually don't have a lot of evidence for that. Yes, we do have a third legendary, which at the time of filming this video is very mysterious, but it seems like this third legendary is imparting knowledge on others, not taking from their imagination. When Heath and his team begin exploring the lowest depths of Area Zero, they begin having dreams and visions. These dreams and visions might be given to them by the third legendary. Basically, the third legendary is a giver of multiversal knowledge rather than one that's getting inspiration from others. Okay, so how does this work with the time loop? Well, instead of going to the same timeline but in the past or future, what if Professor Sada and Turo went to a different timeline that was set in the past or future? This timeline could be a place where Paldea got completely destroyed in the future by these Paradox Pokemon. Some people might think that this is crazy, but there's actually a lot of precedent for this in Pokemon already. For example, in Sun and Moon, we enter a lot of different parallel universes that are not doing so great, especially the one with Guzzlord. This is a terrifying place that is based on a place in Alola, so we know it is a disastrous parallel universe. How this would work is that at the end of the game, Sada and Turo would go into parallel universes that are set in the past and future. From there, they would send these Pokemon back to their original timeline to encounter Heath. Heath would then create the Scarlet and Violet book, inspire Sada and Turo, they create the time machine, but the time machine, instead of pulling directly from the past or future, is pulling from the multiversal past and the multiversal future from a separate universe where events after or before may have occurred differently. This is the most plausible explanation we have because not only does it not contradict anything within the game, it also is consistent with previous Pokemon multiversal lore. What do you think about this topic? Do you have other theories that fit better in your opinion? Let me know in the comments. Make sure to drop a like if you learned something new in this video and subscribe if you want to see more. Bye!